All right, let's just jump right in. For as long as humans have been around, we've been asking ourselves one huge question. What's next? It's a question that's been on our minds forever, right? It drives everything we do. So we're going to be digging into some really cool ideas from Phi Theta Kappa's Honors Program Guide, starting with a core essay by Dr. Susan Edwards. Because this isn't just about trying to predict the future. It's about asking, how do we build it?
You know, whether it's ancient oracles or today's super smart algorithms, we have always been trying to get a sneak peek at what's coming. And this image of a crystal ball, it's the perfect symbol for that, isn't it? That deep down desire to just know what's going to happen, to get ready for it. But here's a thought. Is the future really something you just watch? Or is it something we make? And that right there is the big idea. It's a total game changer. The future isn't someplace we're all just heading towards. Nope. It's something we are building, brick by brick, with every single choice we make. So the question really shifts from what's coming to, hey, what are we all making?
Okay, let's talk about visions from the past and present. You know, one of the best ways to figure out where we're going is to look back at where people thought we'd be by now. Past predictions are like this awesome mirror. They show us our biggest hopes and our biggest blind spots. Let me show you a fantastic example.
Okay, check this out. Nikola Tesla. The guy was an absolute genius, no question. On one hand, he basically predicted the internet. He called it a global brain. And smartphones. I mean, come on, pocket-sized wireless devices? He nailed it. But, and this is a big but, he was also a huge tech optimist. He thought his inventions would end war, stop droughts, basically solve all of humanity's problems. It's like he saw the hardware perfectly, but kind of missed the complexity of the human software running it.
And that really gets to the heart of Tesla's blind spot. There's this great line from T.S. Eliot, had the experience but missed the meaning. That's it, right there. The source material points out that just being a technical wizard isn't enough. If you don't get the messy, complicated human stuff, why we do what we do, our fears, our ambitions, then your picture of the future is always going to have a huge piece missing.
So that's the big question, right? How do we get to that meaning? Well, the Honors Program Guide has a pretty smart approach. It says, look, you can't just swallow the entire future in one bite. It's way too big. So it breaks it down into themes. And we're going to zero in on the very first one, which is really the foundation for everything else: identity and relationships. The whole idea is that before we can build flying cars, we first have to understand ourselves and each other. I mean, what's the point of a high-tech city if we don't even know how to be good neighbors anymore?
And this really brings us to the core question for this whole theme. As the world keeps changing faster and faster, what happens to our connections? You know, our relationships with family, friends, our communities. How do those things evolve? And this isn't just some academic question. This is fundamental. Our relationships are literally the glue that holds society together.
To really get into this, the guide gives us a key tool called social identity. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's just about how the groups we're part of, whether it's our family, our school, our favorite team, how all that shapes who we think we are. And it can go both ways, right? A positive group identity can make you feel like you can do anything, while a negative one can really hold you back. It's worth thinking about for a second. How do the groups you're in affect what you think you're capable of?
And of course, you absolutely cannot talk about identity today without bringing up technology. It's just everywhere. This image, I think, really nails it. It's that blend of human and machine, where our relationships are being completely rewired. On one hand, tech is amazing, right? We can connect with people on the other side of the planet. But the guide forces us to ask a tough question. While it's closing physical distances, is it creating new emotional ones between us? Yeah, and there's this author mentioned in the guide, Christine Rosen, who makes a really compelling case. She says we have to actively fight for firsthand experience. And she's not talking about anything crazy. She means the simple stuff, like actually making small talk with the person next to you in line instead of staring at your phone. She argues that those little moments do way more than just be polite. They actually build our sense of being part of a real physical community. They pull us out of our digital bubbles. Her whole point is that we need a bit of that messy, real-world interaction to actually truly connect.
So what this tells us is that our small, everyday choices really do matter. But okay, how do you take that and make it bigger? How do we go from just talking about these problems to, I don't know, actually doing something? Well, that's exactly where we're headed next. So here's the plan. The guide lays out this really practical framework. It's a simple 4-step process for taking on these big, messy problems. First, you have to ask the hard questions. Then, you go out and find a bunch of different perspectives, not just the ones you agree with. Third, you really think critically about what you found. And finally, and this is the most important part, you take what you've learned and you apply it. You use it to make a real difference right in your own community.
Now, I know, this can all sound like a lot. It can feel pretty overwhelming. But the guide says the secret ingredient here is hope. And not the cheesy, everything will be fine kind of hope. It's this awesome definition from Rebecca Solnit. She says being hopeful means being okay with not knowing exactly what's going to happen. It means being open to new possibilities, and most of all, being dedicated to making things better. Hope isn't just a feeling, it's an action. It's choosing to jump in the game instead of just watching from the sidelines. And that brings us to the most powerful tool that every single one of us has. The legendary inventor Charles Kettering said it best. He believed that the only thing really holding us back, it's not a lack of money, it's not a lack of tech, it's the limits we put on our own imagination. Plain and simple, if we can dream it, we can start to build it. So, it all comes back to you. We've talked about a way to think, a way to act, and a reason to hope. The only thing left to ask is, what future are you going to imagine?